So, you just created a hardcore world and you would like to survive the first night, 100 days, or maybe 5 years? Let's talk about how you can do that. Okay, your very first priority after making stone tools is having plenty of food and making a bed. That becomes a lot easier if you find a village. You want to be able to skip the night before you have at least full diamond armor, and you're most definitely gonna skip the first night. Then you want to get iron gear. I wouldn't recommend caving for iron, because one moment of not paying attention could end your world instantly. But if you do, make some torches first and light up everything before mining. And also turn on your subtitles, it could save your life. You can do that in your music and sound settings. But if you do encounter a creeper and it's too late to run away, the best thing you can do is place a block between you and the creeper, because explosion damage is registered at your feet. So you should have some blocks in an easily accessible slot or in your offhand. And if there are multiple mobs coming your way, the best thing you can do is block yourself in and mine out. By the way, if you're ever mining up, place a torch at your feet so when gravel or sand falls, it breaks. So what do you do instead of caving? Well, if you do a bit of exploring and find a mountain biome, you'll find tons of iron on the surface. And if instead of mountains you find an ocean, you can get iron from shipwrecks and buried treasures. But that's a bit riskier because you could run into drowned with a trident, and those can kill you in 2 hits without any armor. And alternatively, if you don't want to go exploring, you could just strip mine at Y level 15. And if you avoid caves, you'll be perfectly safe. So when you find some iron, prioritize making a shield, a water bucket and armor, and then tools. So the next step is mining for diamonds. The best Y level to do so is -58. The safest way to get there is making a staircase. But if you want to use ladders, don't dig down like this, but instead dig a 2-block hole, which makes it a lot safer. So after some mining, you have diamonds, you have enchanting supplies, but you still need XP. If you're still scared to go monster hunting, you can do some fishing and breed animals. Or if you've settled near mountains, you can mine more iron on the surface and smelt it. These methods are a lot slower, but they are safe. So when you're enchanting, prioritize your armor. By the way, the best out of all these is regular protection. And with full diamond and most of your armor enchanted, going to the nether shouldn't be a problem. But before you go, make yourself a golden helmet to avoid piglins attacking you, and also a boat which can help you get down without taking fall damage. Alternatively, you could take powdered snow if you're confident in your skills, which you can find in snowy mountains. Also take a bucket of lava, which can help you with fighting hoglins. Alright, once you're in the nether, here are some things you should avoid. First of all, bastions. Piglin brutes can kill you in pretty much 2 hits even if you have enchanted armor, and they don't care about your golden helmet. But if you want to trade with piglins, let's say for fire resistant potions, which is a great idea by the way, do that ideally in nether wastes, where there is basically no danger. By the way, don't mine any gold if piglins are around, they will get mad at you. You should also avoid crimson forests, because hoglins are quite dangerous. But if you do encounter one, the best way to kill it is building yourself up 3 blocks and placing down lava. Or you can scare them away with warped fungus, which you should definitely grab if you find some. Another thing to avoid are nether fortresses in soul sand valleys. The amount of wither skeletons that spawn there is insane. I mean, it's great for a wither skull farm, but in the early game, you should just stay away. Basalt deltas can be dangerous as well. The only reason to go in there is killing magma cubes and getting magma cream, which is used for brewing fire resistance potions. Okay, once you find a somewhat safe fortress, grab some nether wart so you can brew potions, then get enough blaze rods for brewing and also for enderise so you can later go to the end. So about 10 to 12 should be enough. When you're fighting blazes and you don't have fire resistance, always block your shield when they're about to shoot. You can tell that they're gonna shoot if they're on fire and flying up. So once they shoot their 3 fireballs, you can kill them. But don't get too close because they can still deal melee damage and it hurts a lot. Now you're pretty much ready to fight the Ender Dragon. But you could also get Netherite armor first. While it doesn't actually increase the armor's protection, it does add knockback resistance, which is especially useful against the Ender Dragon. If you want to find out what the best mining method is, you can check out my video about it in the description. I definitely don't recommend bed explosions though, those are quite dangerous. But I would recommend either brewing some fire resistance or trading with piglins for it, it could save your life. But if you don't have access to that, you can still mine pretty safely. My number one tip is holding blocks in your offhand. That way, if you run into lava, you can instantly place blocks and not catch on fire. But even if you do, if you have enchanted armor and plenty of food, you'll be just fine. So to find enough netherite for your armor, it should take you no longer than 30 minutes. So now, to go to the end, you need some ender pearls. The safest way to get those is trading with a cleric villager. You could also trade with piglins, but in the newer versions, the ender pearl rates aren't very good, so you could also kill endermen, especially if you have a looting sword. You can easily find them in a ward forest biome in the nether. And to kill them safely, use either a boat to trap them like so, or build yourself a 2-block tall space where they can't hit you. Don't get only 12 pearls to fill the end portal. Get more, not just because some eyes might break when looking for the stronghold, but also for safety reasons during the end fight. If the dragon launches you off the island, it's really your only way to save yourself. Another safety precaution you can take is slow falling potions. You can brew those using a nether wart and a phantom membrane, plus redstone to make it longer. Phantoms only spawn if you don't sleep for at least 3 nights, so keep that in mind. Slow falling is great, especially if you're not that skilled at MLG water. Speaking of potions, strength and speed will definitely make the fight quicker, but they're not necessary. If you have trouble not looking at endermen, you might want to take a carved pumpkin with you. I personally never use it because it obstructs my vision, but you could always download a resource pack that gets rid of it. Okay, so what about the actual end fight? If you don't have that many arrows, don't shoot the dragon, just focus on the towers. The best way to deal damage to the dragon is hitting its head when it's sitting on the bedrock frame. Just whatever you do, don't jump when you're in there or near the dragon. You will get launched very high. Also, don't use beds to damage it, you'll just set yourself on fire and it's not worth it. And avoid the dragon's breath at all costs. So, once you've defeated the dragon, you can now go find an elytra. You want to take a bunch of blocks, food, ender pearls, slow falling potions, a shield, some wood so you can craft shulker boxes and put your loot in there, and then an anvil, an unbreaking 3 book and as many fireworks as you can craft. So when you do find an elytra, you don't have to worry about the durability and getting back home. Now let's talk about getting from island to island. Do not throw a pearl unless you're absolutely sure you're gonna land it. I have lost a world once to this stupid mistake and I don't want that to happen to you. If you have slow falling potions, you can be a bit more brave, but still, it's really dangerous. Slow falling and ender pearls is also great against shulkers and their levitation. Another solution is eating chorus fruit, which will teleport you to the nearest block. You can also avoid their projectiles by blocking your shield or hitting them. Be careful when you're shooting shulkers with a bow, especially if they're above you, because when their shell is closed, projectiles bounce off of them, so you might shoot yourself. Alright, once you have all the elytras, shulker boxes and loot you wanted, you have 2 options to get back home. You can either find a gateway and pearl through it, which will teleport you back to the obsidian platform, or you can fly back with your elytra. There's about a 1000 block gap between the main island and the outer islands, so you'll have to fly over the void. It's not as bad as it sounds. As long as you're paying attention to your coordinates and you're headed towards 00, you'll be just fine. Now let's talk about the elytra. It's one of the leading causes of death in the late game. People either have too much momentum when landing and die from fall damage. So always make sure to slow down properly. Or a lot of the time, they forget that they're not wearing the elytra and jump into the void or from a high place. So when you're about to take off, just open your inventory and make sure you're wearing it. But this also goes the other way. People leave their elytra on and start fighting mobs. The chestplate makes a massive difference. So whenever you want to fight, especially in an enclosed space where you can't fly out, just put on your chestplate, please. Another way people die in the late game is fighting the wither. The safest way to kill him is suffocating him in the bedrock frame in the end. My personal favorite is fighting him in my strip mine in a 2x1 tunnel. He pretty much can't touch you there. But if for whatever reason you want to do it out in the open, make sure to grab some milk to cancel out the wither effect, also some golden apples and plenty of food. Alright, here are some things you should carry either in your inventory or your ender chest if you want to increase your chances of survival. First of all, obviously tools, weapons and food, but you should also have a few golden apples on hand or enchanted ones if you're rich. Then a bed so you can skip the night anywhere and a water bucket for obvious reasons. You should also carry both your chestplate and elytra so you can switch between them, and of course some fireworks. For your offhand, I recommend a shield or a totem of undying later on. And finally, you should always have an ender chest in your inventory so you can have access to a lot more stuff. And that will do it. So thank you so much for watching, subscribe if you want to get better at Minecraft, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.